For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Talking Horses. It's day 26. It's a little quiet, right? There's no
Day 28.
Day 28, excuse me. No PA here?
I can't. I don't.
I don't hear
any.
I don't hear anybody here at the track. Anyway, it's day 28.
Bueller.
He's Anthony Stabile. I'm Andy Serling. It's Talking Horses, presented by Saratoga Water on a beautiful Alabama day. Here, looking forward to the Alabama. We'll talk about that, as well as the Lake Placid and all the other races on today's card. We are off the turf for all turf races 5, 6, and 11, except for the two stakes, races 3 and 9. Race 3 is the Smart and Fancy. There we go. And the 9 is the Lake Placid. You need to head over to Naira Bets before you do anything else today. Sign up for Naira Bets if you're not a member. Support racing in New York and keep the money in the game by playing through Naira Bets. Use the promo code SPA200. And we will match up to $200 of your initial deposit once you have made that much of a play. Also, what do we have through Naira Bets? We got a bankroll builder. This is the last one. Bet 50 to win the Alabama Stakes. Opt in, and you get $20 for your Travers Stakes bankroll. Travers, of course, next Saturday. What else? We have a cross-country Big Five. It's going to be the two stakes here, Lake Placid, the Alabama, and then we head out to Del Mar for the Grade 1 Del Mar Oaks, the Grade 1 Pacific Classic, and the Del Mar Handicap, which I doubt is a Grade 1. Is it? Do you know? You probably look.
Grade 2, I believe.
All right. And so there's a big gap, obviously, but you can bet them. Then you can go to dinner and you can watch on your phone on Naira Bets. Also, at Del Mar today, I believe we have a $20 win bet bonus. It's not really a $20 win bet. It's a $25 win bet. And if you bet it and you win, you get a $20 bonus. I think it would be better worded as a $25 win bet. Bonus of $20.
Well, you can only win the $20.
Or a $20 bonus,
win bet bonus
on a $25 win bet.
$20 bet bonus. Win bonus bet. 20.
I'm even more confused now, but I'm not confused that we have Saratoga Live 2 to 7 today. The 1 to 2 portion will be available on YouTube through the NIA YouTube channel, so you can hook that up to your TV, as many industrious people have. I watched the baseball game. There was a Mets game on that was on the YouTube channel.
Why?
Network. I watched it. It was on the network. I have it through my TV, through Roku, and this was back when we were still in New York, obviously. I'm going to tell you, the picture was better than it is. It's incredible, the picture, actually.
I don't really want to talk about the Mets anymore.
Oh, stop.
It's got depressing.
No, it hasn't. Season's far from over. A true fan is not depressed. A true fan is rooting for the Mets at Saratoga, who can watch the games. Anyway, race number 1 is the first of a couple of 2-year-old maiden races here on a Saturday at Saratoga. Want to start off with the horse that ran. And that's the 7 Bourbon Heist, who neither Anthony and I have in our top 4 picks, and this is one we happen to agree on. Now, there is no question that he had a bit of trouble, and I want you to watch the pan and head-on about the first 150 yards here as he gets steadied back, and he does get steadied back and loses some position. And there's no doubt about it, and we'll show the head-on eventually. The problem is twofold, and he's the number 3 in here. You can watch what happens. Gets banged by the horse outside of him. Door shuts there, and thus the problem. The problem is he had a very good trip thereafter. It was an extremely fast pace that saved the winner, was sort of falling apart at the end, and it was a pretty slow race. So, yes, he had trouble, but it's hard to really want horses out of this race, and trouble or no trouble, the rest of the race really fell in his lap. I bet him last time, and I didn't feel like it was a tough beat. Yeah, if he didn't have the trouble starting, he might have won, but so what?
The last part of it, I think, is what has to – it's a slow race. And at the end of the day, want these horses coming out of the slow races. I don't disagree with anything you said. Him getting bumped at the start kind of put him into a great spot, saving ground, and being able to just watch that pace collapse in front of him.
This
So,
is
yeah.
a funny race from a pedigree standpoint. They scratched Union Lights, but you had Angela Renee, the dam of Gilded Age, Grade 1 winner, and she ran with Cavorting, who
Yep.
of course is the dam of Clairiere later today. Napa Valley. There's a big pedigree somewhere. Oh, the second dam is Country Star. So Bobby Frankelhorst, who lost to the late Paul Pompa's Grade 1 winner, Backseat Rhythm in her
Rhythm,
first start.
wow.
And then Country Star won the Alcibiades and the Hollywood Starlet in synthetic in her next 2 starts. And Union Lights, of course, she's not running, but she's a half to By the Moon, who was a Grade 1 winner. It's kind of interesting. You and I have flip-flopped our top choices. Why don't you talk about Raymond? Did you pick this horse because its name has the same name as Ray Handle?
Yes.
I assume that's what it was.
That's exactly why I did
figured,
it.
I knew it. I knew it.
Horse and a half to a nice horse named Cambria. Solid work tab, every other work out of the gate. I like that work pattern from the Asmussen barn. These horses have all seemed to save 1 or 2 first time out. He's drawn outside. Like you and I kind of saw this race pretty similarly.
Well, Asmussen has been very live with his firsters, obviously. It doesn't mean they all can run. Yatine Pauline was a nice runner. She ran a 97 Beyer, 92 in her debut. Her one foal was okay. She was no superstar. She got an 84 Beyer, but she was okay. This horse did cost $1 million, and Stone Street bought back in. I took Triple Elvis on top in here. A horse who's supposedly working well for trainer Chad Brown. It's after Made You Look, who Chad had for a little bit of his career, a very good turf horse, but Chad runs this one, I'm interested on the dirt. Probably a good sign for him. We've gone 8-6 and 6-8 in similar fashions.
Only
and we both
foal
have
to race
entry.
for that man, by the way.
Made You Look.
Yeah, back in 2014. So
This
it's
is
been
the
a
third
while.
fall, right. There's 5 years since a fall race. Yeah, no, I'm glad you pointed that out. And, of course, we both have Todd Pletcher's entry third in this
Yes.
race as well. Let's take a look at race number 2. We'll take a look at Zenalarab, finishing second to the talented Australasia, who I think was undefeated until she lost the Jersey Girl. She had a very
won the
fast
Jersey
fig-
Girl.
won the Jersey Girl. She lost the Victory Rod, excuse me. She was very fast and faster than this fig suggests. And Zenalarab did not have the best trip either. And the winner, Australasia, had won like 4 or 5 races as a Louisiana bred. So this was not your normal non-winners of one, other than. Thought she ran well in here. Does it worry you a little bit she sort of runs by appointment only?
Yeah, of course. I wouldn't say a late 2-year-old start because September's not really that late. But then she gets into that trouble in April, and now another
4 months
3.5,
later,
4
basically
months.
4 months later.
Yeah, another 4 months later. Yeah, that's an issue. But she's talented. I know this was a horse that they had high hopes for in the beginning of the start of her career. Say the start of her career, it was almost
She's
a
still
year
there.
ago, but it's only 2 starts. Yeah, she's still there. And I just thought if she showed up and she started to, she's going to have to start putting up though, Andy.
I think
And-
she's going to be overbet based on the connections, the purchase price, and her results. Now, having said that, I think her last race is better than a 72 Beyer. How much better, I don't know. I like Dial Me Up, and I'm nothing against Zenalarab. I picked her second. She's the horse to beat. I don't disagree with you. I think though she'll be a little overbet, and I wonder if the price discrepancy might be a little bit more severe than David Aragona suggests. And we'll take a look at Dial Me Up's last race, and maybe I'm just being moto here as well. And this is Dial Me Up finishing third back in March at Aqueduct. At the end of the day, she's loose as a goose, and you know me, I like horses that are controlling speed in 7 furlong races, Anthony, and I think it's a handicapping thing that's worked.
She's gone.
She's
I
just
mean,
faster
there's
than these
no,
horses. They
there
can't
is
run with her.
nobody in
They
here
can't run with her.
that can keep up with her for the first 5/8 of a mile. What happens after that? If Zenalarab can reel her in,
Zenalarab is not that slow. I mean, she should be sitting second to her, so I
right?
don't think she's
They're
going to be
line up.
dramatically
They're going to line up
compromised.
5-2.
Right.
But if you're
Well,
Jose
assuming they
Ortiz,
break, but-
if you're Jose Ortiz, don't you try and just put some separation on this field?
I you know what I think about how you use speed, but I'll leave it up to Jose, who's having a
Right.
terrific meet. But Javier's aware of that. And, you know, Javier hasn't had the opportunities of some of the riders here, and he's been acutely aware. One thing about Javier, he's a guy who's prepared. He knows that the 5 is controlling speed. Oh, this is Chad Brown. So they're not going to be 4 or 5 lengths behind her unless the 5's going
You wouldn't
too
think.
fast. So
Right.
I don't think it'll match her. I think Portillo's going to run better cutting back for Al Stall. I actually liked her debut. Her second race, not as much, but I don't think the mile and an eighth to her. And listen, she lost a horse that you like in the Alabama, and you're not the only one. So, you know, I think she'll run okay. So I put her third. I didn't think she's impossible, but mostly 5s and 2s. The Smart and Fancy. Where are the turf sprinters?
I don't know.
What's going on here that this race got 4? I mean, seriously.
Caravel went up to Woodbines, won in the
I
grade one
understand,
against
but
the
I don't
boys.
think that the Robin Sparkles and lead guitar, with all due respect, should be scaring horses away.
I don't disagree.
So where are these Where are these horses?
And I'll tell you another thing. Indiana bred horse of the year, Pieri Bianchi, would have been 1-5, no exaggeration, on Wednesday in an Indiana bred stakes. But they opted to stay here.
Well, Forest Field. Robin Sparkles. You know, this race is on the Mellon, by the way, which was listed as yielding yesterday. I think it was soft, and I believe after getting a little rain last night, it's probably much closer to soft than it is to yielding. It doesn't mean it's not in good shape. I was talking to Christophe Clement, who won that race yesterday, and he talked to Joel Rosario and said he thought the course was soft, but very, very, very safe and didn't have any complaints about it, just obviously a lot of give. We'll take a look at Robin Sparkle's last race. I'm going to tell you something. I didn't like this effort. I know she's not supposed to beat Caravel, but she just caved in late. I don't like that. She's the horse to beat in some ways, but I didn't like this race.
So I have a stupid idea.
I'm sure.
I don't think she went fast enough last time. I think she's the kind of filly where you just have to let her roll. And I think...
She did roll.
Well,
she
did
roll.
and she didn't.
What are you talking about?
She did and she didn't.
She went as fast as she always goes.
I don't think she was going as fast as she could.
This is nonsense.
Now, I don't know what happens on a soft ground.
That's just not true, but anyway. You're comparing her fractions on a much softer course, a 44-2 to a 43-4. She ran on a much firmer turf course.
You want to say it one more time?
Well, but you're not making sense. It doesn't.
To me, I've seen her go faster.
On firmer courses, Anthony. You've
No,
also seen her go significantly
I don't mean it that
slower
way,
a million
Andy. I don't mean
times.
it that way. I thought...
I'm going to move on from this.
Okay,
We disagree.
Go ahead.
Okay.
We disagree. I would just have her completely...
Think you open up 8 or 9 and go like 21-43 on this course?
Just
Bruce, if you're listening,
you're not going to go 21-43 on this course, Andy. It's impossible to go that fast. But I want to open 5 on this field today.
All right. I like lead guitar. She obviously had an issue last time, unfair start and refund. She just got good last year. And she got good, frankly, when she moved back into George Weaver's barn. She got back to that good form that she once had, and I don't think she's particularly pace compromised because she can be a bit more forward. And one of the reasons Louis Saez is having the fantastic meet that he's having is he's got every single horse in the game, and I just prefer her. I always root for Robin Sparkles. Love to see Bruce Brown do well, but I think that lead guitar is the right one in this particular case.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, she can. She got really, really good, like you said. She rattled off 4 in a row last year. I know one of them was said Eddie Keneally, but Eddie did not come up here last year. She was in George's barn when she won that allowance race, and then she rattled off 4 in a row. And she's one you do not have to worry about course. She wins on all kinds of ground.
Right. Now Robin Sparkles handled turf course with a little bit of give in it. Race number 4. I like Tangerine Dream. Is that a band, Tangerine Dream, back in the 60s?
I think it's a song.
Song or a band?
I don't know.
This is the 3rd place finisher debut when Patty at Pages beat Valentium. You're impressed that I remember that, aren't you? Admit it. I thought this race would make her tough. We haven't seen her since she ran the turf back in November. Switches to Carlos Martin. Just thought she was a super logical horse. Nothing particularly clever.
Yeah. Gets Lasix for the first time as well. Back to the main track, in for the tag. Makes a lot of sense.
It's just hard to love anybody in here. I mean, you and I flip-flop the picks.
Yep.
And, I don't trust Tell a Perfect Tale for Tom Morley, who does drop down, but she ran better early. I guess she ran better in maiden claiming races.
Yeah, that's it. I'm hoping that the return to the from the special weight to the tag horses helps her cause. She's been gone a while too. Like you said the right word. It's hard to trust any of them in here. Really, Maria's Gift has had a bunch of chances. Know It All Red's had a bunch of chances. You and I have them flip-flop 3rd and 4th. There's just nowhere else to really go in here.
Well, Nick Tamero is making a good case to me this morning for Escapology. And with the scratch of the number 10 in this race, Prairie Tales, there's less pace. And this horse didn't break that sharply last time. And if she's able to break better here, I mean, you look at her, you say she's a Mars side, but who cares? She ran the race she ran last time. It was a race that was dominated forward in her last start, so I think that worked for her, but she didn't break that sharply and rushed up to chase. And Asatika was the heavy favorite for Mike Maker, like so many that won. So I think there is an argument for it, and I think if I had to do over again, I'd probably have gone 11-3-4, 11-4-3 in here. I think looking at it a little bit more, after talking to Nick, I thought he made a decent case for this horse.
You know what this does? You know what this race starts, right? The bonus pick 5.
Ooh, the bonus
mandatory
pick 5.
payout 4 through 8.
Races 4 through 8. You don't want to miss that. Do not want to miss that. Thank you for that, Anthony. The second of 3 pick 5s, race 4. And this is a mandatory payout, right?
Mandatory, yep.
All right, race number 5, we are off the turf. I think this race rates to help people playing the pick 5 because it's hard to make a case for anybody realistically outside of Tiergun or Too Early. I mean, I guess if you want to bet all Mike Maker horses, maybe you want to make a case for 6%. Anthony and I couldn't, at least on the win end. As we take a look at a replay where they ran 1-2, 2 back for Tiergun, about 4 back for Too Early, I think the difference maker for me, Anthony, and I'm guessing for you, is the 1.8 miles.
The distance, yeah, no question about it. I'm not sure Tiergun wants to go this far. I know Too Early does, or at the very least, Too Early has shown that he can be competitive going this far. And like you said, it's kind of hard to make a case for anyone else besides these two. If you're playing any kind of pick 4s or pick 5s, I think you could use the 2 of them and just kind of move the chains in here.
It's hard to make a strong case for the other ones in this race. I mean, obviously you have an unknown. Magic Express is in good form. Good Old Boy, a similar situation, but it's hard to go past these 2 horses. And I've been told that Tangerine Dream by Steve does a lot of movie soundtracks, and somebody told me on Twitter they did the soundtrack for Risky Business. And being Tom Cruise's biggest fan,
well,
when
I have
are you
seen
getting
Tom,
in line for
by
Tom
the way,
Gunn
I was
too?
told, but as far as corrections go, lead guitar was in Tom Morley's barn for that first win, not George Weaver's barn last year.
And she still ran well?
She still won.
How is that possible? Oh, you mean for Eddie Knievel? Yes.
Yes.
I'm aware. I didn't say wins. I said she improved when she got to George Weaver's barn. I know she won when Eddie Knievel had her. I understand that. But the reality is she didn't run that big a fig. She improved her performances.
Yes.
That's what I was referring to. Not saying that it was win. She started winning when she left.
Now that we know it was Tom.
It's a miracle she won. We found Tom's shadow account on Twitter. You didn't follow that?
I did see that.
Yeah, it was funny. Anyhow, kidding. Joking around. We like Tom a lot.
Love Tom.
And, we like that woman he's married to as well. Anyhow, we are done with the first 5. The last 6, the pick 6, the late pick 5, the stakes, the Alabama, it's all happening after a quick break and a message from our friends at Saratoga Water.
Make business meetings exquisite. Make a weekend outing exquisite. Make a late night snack exquisite. Make a night on the town exquisite. For nearly 150 years, the Saratoga Spring Water Company has been producing the finest spring water available anywhere. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
We are back. Talking Horses 28 resumes. The Big A, Anthony Stabile, Andy Serling. Thanks to our friends at Saratoga Water as well. Race number 6 off the turf. 5, 6, and 11 off the turf. 3 and 9 remain on the turf. Their list is yielding probably a little more on the soft, though we'll talk about the inner race, the Lake Placid, in a little while. I don't really know what to say in this race. Important one. Well, Anthony, I'm going to say this, and this one you'll agree. You kind of stole this one from me. Because when we were back at Belmont, you didn't pick this horse when there was a race we talked about for on and off the turf. I understand it's subliminal. I don't think you did it intentionally. But you had the horse 3rd or 4th, and I explained on the air.
I don't know what I ate for breakfast.
I understand. It's fine. I'm just saying. We had a long conversation, and I point out to you how well this horse ran in the New York Stallion Series, and you kind of looked and went, yeah, you're right. And you said you were right. You agreed.
Time out.
And stayed.
We're talking about 2 years ago?
No, back at Belmont. This horse was entered
in
a race, and we talked about it for turf or off the turf, and I was saying I hope that Toby Sheets, who is, of course, the assistant for Steve Asmussen, this horse is at Belmont, would leave this horse in because I thought this horse ran really well in that race against Officer Hutchie when finishing third. So I'm glad to see Toby left her in. And I think if you look at that race, I think it's the best race that any of these horses have run in the dirt. And I think maybe this is a horse that there's an argument perhaps could have been on the dirt all along.
It's the right spot for her, too, isn't it? I mean, she gets a little pace to run at in here.
I'm tired of Betsy Blue.
Yeah, Betsy Blue going 5.5. She's a little suspect going 5.5, I think.
Really?
I think she's the kind of horse that needs a little bit more ground. I don't think 5.5 with her running style.
She's won at 6 furlongs. Her best race.
Yeah,
is 6
I know, but
furlongs.
she gets.
No, we disagree. But we disagree about distance. So
Blinkers
that's
on.
fine.
Blinkers on for her today too.
I've seen enough of her. She runs every week, and I want some new horses in here, and I want the important one. I think she runs back to that race up here behind Officer Hutchie and Spin Yarn, and that was a race that was dominated towards the front end, and I've just seen enough of these horses in here. I mean, frankly, see, I want Big Q, and we'll go back to the time machine to 2019 and the good old days back at the Big A when I was winning. And she ran this huge race. The problem with her
You
is
loved her this day.
I did love her, and I loved the score I made in the next race too. When she was 4-5, I felt bad for Gary Gullo in a $500,000 race at 1-2. The problem with her is her lack of consistency.
Yeah.
She's just been atrocious. Now she doesn't need the lead. She doesn't have to be forward. I mean, she won her debut up here from way back. I'd love to see her come back and run well. I think she's dangerous. I want to use her as like a stranger, a new face getting off the layup for Tom. And Tom's having a good meet, by the way.
I put her third,
all
I
kidding
think.
aside.
I put her third.
I
Yeah.
just feel like I've seen enough Betsy Blue and
I
Beautiful
don't
Karen
listen.
and
You
Fair
might,
Regis.
I probably should have won 7-5
No,
as
it's
well
fine.
because I want to mess around with her in here.
Betsy Blue
and I
can
have
win.
kind of seen enough of Betsy Blue. Also, I'm kind of in your
Betsy Blue
camp
can win.
when it comes to that.
I'm moving on.
Yeah. I got you.
Oh, the track is fast.
Track
I
is
hope it doesn't
fast.
change to good. Wait, should I look at my phone and annoy people about the weather? Was that Eric, by the way, that said
I
it was
believe
fast?
it was, though.
Wow, a rare appearance
fearless
in our
leader.
ears from the
Yes.
legendary Eric. My phone now says the first threat of rain is around 7 o'clock. There's a 30% chance.
That's beautiful.
So that's what my phone says to all the nitwits on Twitter. If for some reason, shockingly in the Adirondacks,
Andy, it's a beautiful
storm moves in-
Saturday.
It is. It's gorgeous
It's
out.
Alabama Day.
I know.
You don't got to go calling people nitwits. Come on,
On Twitter.
man.
I said nitwits on Twitter.
Yeah, I know. Well, just let them. You just gotta. You
I
gotta
know.
just.
I know. You're
cleanse
such a. I
them.
know. You're a Zen
Cleanse
guy.
them out.
You're a Zen guy.
You have to just
He's the
cleanse
angriest
them.
man in North America. Race number
I
7.
used to be. I've seen the light.
No, you haven't. No, you haven't. This will be like that Sopranos with Janice and Tony. Believe me, I could put him on tilt. I could name that tune in 3 notes. I could put him on tilt in 3 notes. Race number 7.
How do you say my mother abandoned me in French Canadian?
Race number 7. So
That's a great reference.
it'll be interesting to see how this. If that disqualification happened at Aqueduct in 1974,
Burn the place.
The place
would
would
have
have
burned
been on
down.
fire.
When you put that tweet out last night, I went and watched the
was-
replay.
that was a couple
They
days
would
ago.
have burned
Did you
the
watch
place.
that?
Yeah, I did.
It was
They
insane.
would have burned the place down.
the horse sort of came in a little
Like a-
bit.
like a half a
on
path.
a horse that he was just blowing by. That
Rolling
was clearly
by.
going to be second. Migliori would be proud, by the way, the acting job by the second guy. I mean, seriously, that guy. I mean, he could steal the Oscar from my man, the Mig. And by the way, the Mig will be on the show today. For those of you who've been wondering where he is, so. Happy to see Richie, but yeah, that was. I watched that. And
That
I went,
was something.
I was. You get a little chill when you see, as a horse player, a terrible DQ. That could have been you.
Somebody
okay,
must
do you
have
have any
retweeted it
stories
last
in here?
night.
I have no stories.
No, I have no
None,
stories
zero.
in here.
No
I just
stories.
went. I just went with Todd, and
I think
you
the
know,
other Todd's supposed to be the better one based on the workouts, right?
I don't know.
My
I
Wandy's
split-
girl.
I split them.
My Wandy's girl, the dam of my prankster, was trained by
My cushion.
Michael Hushin when he came. The horse came from Puerto Rico, I want to say. Won the Barbara Fritchie.
Yep.
Very, very nice sprint. You know, who rode her, I believe, maybe in the Fritchie, but at least one of her big wins. Our man Ramon Dominguez.
Yes.
So Foxy Socks. Well, we'll get to that. Let's show Seal Beach. Now, listen, I get it. You've taken the opinion of there have to be better firsters in Seal Beach. I totally
this is a
get
slow
that.
race, Andy.
I
Do
think
we
it's a
want
little bit
these
of a better
slow
race than you think it
horses?
was. This horse had an absolute nightmare of a trip. Didn't break, was a length slow, got shuffled back. This horse ran extremely well, and to me, Seal Beach ran like a horse that absolutely will benefit from a race because she was as green as grass. I really thought that she ran in this race. I mean, you watch her. She's making this run. She's lugging in. She's doing every single thing wrong. Now, I get it. She ran a 58 by her. So even with reasonable improvement, you've got her to a 70. It is fair to believe me.
I got to think 2 or 3 of these firsts are faster than this horse.
There are 4 horses in here that can run better than 70 by her.
Right.
Having said that, I want to give this horse another chance. This horse can run. I get it. I have no problem with that. But, sometimes these races don't live up to it. The 3 Triumphant Road is a funny one. I've got this horse 4th. This horse worked pretty strong 10 and a 5th. I saw a trainer on Twitter that
How about the top screen right now?
Yeah, that's frightening. The reason we show these sales workouts is it can't hurt. Yeah, I understand, but their strides matter. I think it's always good to just watch things. I don't think anybody's betting a horse strictly because they saw a sales workout. But I don't think there's anything wrong with more
Piece of the
information
puzzle.
being around.
You made
Eddie
a good point
Barker
with that yesterday.
loves this horse.
Come on.
I know.
Are you kidding?
Told me about this horse when he so kindly gave me that ride to the subway at Belmont.
He is so humble and so tight-lipped.
He's kidding. It happens that we love.
He's so tight-lipped.
We
so
actually,
I can't
have
believe he
nothing
likes
but
this
the
horse.
greatest amount of
Oh
love
my, I'm
for our
stunned.
friend Eddie Barker.
Oh my God.
Anthony's only kidding. He loves Eddie as much as I do.
I do love Eddie.
Actually, somebody, Naira complimented Eddie Barker to me. Said something really nice about Eddie to me the other day. He was talking about how nice he was. This horse is a turf pedigree, though. So
I saw the same thing.
it's weird. I hope the horse runs well for Eddie. I'm sure he's confident. Probably wearing a suit today. He has his one suit on.
Not a suit. He's wearing
The suit?
The suit.
What about the 9 Cogburn? The thing that scares me, this horse is a not this time selling for only $150,000. Second foal, first didn't run. This horse worked a nice 20 3/5 at the OBS sales. The dam's an Indiana bred.
Indiana bred.
You got to use Asmussen. You can't leave him out. This reserve currency, for what it's worth, I was talking to Nick Tamro this morning, and he says this horse worked favorably with the one in the first race the other day, Triple Elvis.
Okay.
So see how that
That's
horse runs.
today, by the way.
Yeah. We'll see. I love the name Triple Elvis, by the way. Is Triple Elvis a Warhol painting?
Could be. I believe that's accurate,
I'm
actually.
gonna actually look that up.
You look it up? You want me to look it up?
Well, it's because it's Peter Brandt and art and those things, and I was wondering, it feels like it could be a Warhol. Anyhow, race number 8. Anthony, big scratch for you in race number 8. Big scratch. You know what? Let me ask you a question about striking speed. I'm guessing you were not. This is really enough for me, what's going on right here, by the way. Anthony and I have the benefit of, over the last couple of years, some tremendous entertainment watching the feed for the show when they're working on different things. And they're rehearsing the jockey. The jockey thing. So
Triple Elvis is a Warhol puncher.
I was very, very, thank you. Very surprised. You were probably not surprised that your pick here, striking speed scratch. This horse's last race was so bad, it felt like you wouldn't be shocked with the drop down if this horse came out.
Correct.
Is that fair? I'm not, this horse could have won. I'm not against this horse. I'm just saying, I'm not shocked this horse scratched.
If he got onto the racetrack, he was going to be tough.
So Chad Brown has 2 in here. I have him 1, 2. You have Identity Politics. Let's go to the videotape and watch finishing second to the very talented Jovia, Mr. Dougie Fresh. So many friends in this race.
All the good,
this
all the
horse
old
was
pals.
What horse was this second to in the Malibu? Identity Politics.
That would be McKinsey.
Exactly, correct.
It's also
One
on
day-
it's also on my card, by the way.
One day, Klarovich is going to win the Malibu. One day. We've tried, we've failed, but good finishes.
I mean,
It's hard to trust, but he's kind of the worst. There should be some pace in there, too, shouldn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're supposed to.
Yeah.
I mean, listen.
The 5, the 9, the deuce.
How long have we've been waiting for this horse to come around? 2.5 years? 3 years?
He's running in a realistic spot for a 35
And now
claimer.
he's
the kind of horse that
35
just
free
can
life.
win this race from memory.
This is kind of right. This is kind of the spot where he's supposed to win. I'm sure he's going to get claimed today.
You claiming him?
I'm not. I would never claim off of my friend Seth.
He might want you to claim it.
That's a different story. We could sell him and we could do something different.
Friends claim from friends.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
I like Galania Brigade.
I'm 35 dimes short.
I like 34,999. I like Galani Brigade. I thought Galani Brigade ran very, very well, and I just think last time, and this is a realistic drop for Chad, and at least this horse has more recency. I trusted this one a little bit more, and also thought would be a better price of the two. I like them both. I'll take the better price. I know he's probably got to deal with some other speeds.
That's his
He's
problem
got
in
no choice,
here.
though, to go from the rail, and I'd rather take a horse that I'm committed with. Because around here, the paces don't always develop.
I mean,
But
Charlie 5-0's gotta go.
what do you
with
like
him,
about
doesn't he?
What do you like about Vulcan?
Say that again.
What do you like about Vulcan? You have
You know,
second.
I wanted the horses that were dropping in here originally. Striking Speed was dropping back in. Vulcan's dropping in
Vulcan
for the
has
first time.
one wet track race at Perry Meadows. Otherwise, all the others are awful.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
but
I'm not. He ran one race that can make him a contender here, and
He ran against
5 others that would make him a contender in a 10
He
claim.
ran against a tough allowance field last time.
Michael's
I just
making
think
an appearance
I think
now. It's
he's
like
dropping.
everyone's
That's
getting
fine. Some of the other lunacy has just got to go. He ran against a good allowance field last time, and I think he's just dropping into a spot, much like Identity Politics.
No, but
just
he's not
dropping into
Identity
a spot.
Politics. Identity Politics.
No, he's
is
not,
a
but
horse.
he's dropping into a realistic spot. This is where he belongs. They tried a couple of little stakes with him. They tried the 3 other end.
Okay.
He's in where he belongs.
Okay, we saw this race a bit differently, but I don't disagree with you that the 4 is the horse to beat Identity Politics. I'm going to say something about Lake Placid. I'm glad it moved to the inner because the only race this entire week that has been run on the inner since the biblical deluge began was the steeplechase race, which was run on the outside part of the
Right.
course. So there has not been a race run on the inner towards the real part of the course they use here at all this week. So even though it'll be softish, it's pristine. It's in good shape. And
Great
we only
shape.
run a few races last week on the inner, so I think it, of course, will be in much, much better shape. So I thought that was good, especially for a stake. Listen, if you didn't bet at technical analysis last time, you missed the boat at almost $18. She got it done last time. We'll take a look at her winning. She has the speed to get position. She's got the right post. And on paper, she is simply too good for these horses. I'm not saying she's going to win. And I'll say something else. That first race she ran on yielding turf, that also was a bog. So and she got a horrendous trip in that race. Horrendous.
I don't think you.
So I don't think there's any reason to be worried about her handling given the ground.
I think you get a kick out of this when I say this. She's just the best horse in the race.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
I think that's what I just said.
I mean, there's no other way around it here.
mean,
You
the best
look
horse
at the
doesn't
rest of
always
these-
win.
They don't, but
I thought
it's
she ran
it's
very,
a
very well last
smallish
time.
It's a smallish field. She has enough speed to put herself in position, like you said.
Jose will do just what he did last time and get that position.
Exactly right.
If the
And
5 is
last
in front
time
of
it
her,
was a
she's in
little bit
front of
of a
her. That's
bigger
fine.
field.
I don't know.
think now.
No, go
I
ahead.
personally think the only horse that would have it, and she'd have to improve so much, is Lovestruck.
Here's the problem with Lovestruck. When you start deconstructing her form, it's not very good. She beat Freedom of the Press, who turned out we thought was going to be good. It turned out not to be very good.
And Army Wife's a dirt horse.
Right.
I got it.
She beat Invincible Gal, who's okay, but she couldn't warm up. Technical analysis.
I don't disagree with any of this.
And
but
last time out, I mean, she yes, the pace fell apart a bit. She was brutal.
she gets
brutal.
Okay. She hit a few bumps in the road. She was gone 7 months. Wow, that's loud, huh?
I took it out.
Yeah, me too.
Ridiculous.
7 months. She's gone 7 months. Pace incinerated.
And plus, we can just enjoy it.
The blinker. The blinkers come off. And listen, I'm not looking to pick on anybody. She's getting a big rider change to John Velasquez here. She's getting a big rider
Except
change
I'm
to
going
John
to say
Velasquez
something.
here.
I understand that Junior's obviously having a tough meet, and I'm sure he's aware of it as well. What did he do wrong in this filly? What did
No.
he do on her that Johnny's not going to do?
He didn't do much wrong.
He didn't do anything wrong. He's done nothing wrong on this filly. You want to say you get an rider upgrade, you at least need to take a horse that got some lousy rides. This horse did not
I'm
get
gonna tell you
but
one thing.
You can't be unfair to Junior. He never
No,
did
I'm
a thing
not.
wrong on
I'm
this
gonna
horse.
tell you
If
one
he gave
thing.
the horse a bad ride, I would agree, but he didn't.
She's getting to the lead today.
Okay. With her chief competitor right behind her.
Listen, I'm looking to cold punch a 2-5 and make a small reverse. That's why I'm looking to bet this race, especially if that
Do you
board
really
holds
think
up.
she's going to be the 4th choice in here?
Well, that's what I just said, especially if that board holds
the
up.
horse who's going to be over betting here
Is
is
the
the horse
4.
I have second. No,
Oh, it's the Eagle
3.
Trip? Okay.
Yeah.
The maiden?
I'm not sure if they named this horse for Anthony, but I've heard some rumors. You know, this
I'd
horse.
be honored.
This horse ran extremely well last time, and I like Rastafara, the Peter Brand horse, that won
Yes.
the race. And Eagle Trip should have won. And you'll see the break. Now, she does it to herself, and you worry about these horses breaking again. She does go 3 wide in the first turn. She's a Euro, so you know she'll love us off ground. Some Euros do not. this horse really ran, and she ran behind a horse that's pretty good. She got an 83 Beyer, and my assumption is that Brendan Walsh said, I was thinking of taking a shot in the Lake Placid if she won this race.
She ran a winning
She
race.
ran a winning race. She just didn't finish first. I'm very interested in this horse. I think this horse could be A-OK.
Okay.
I think, by the way, a lot of people, all the wise guys, are going to like her too, and she's going to end up. She may not love. Lovestruck may be the overlay. She may be the underlay.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping. Look, she ran really, really well last time behind Rastafari, who could be okay as well. The problem is, you said it best. She did it to herself at the break, and she did it behind a horse like Rastafari. Now she has a horse like Technical. I mean, she loses a length and a half at the break.
But you can't.
You can't handicap that way.
So I just got a text from the actual man who brought a bazooka to your sword fight.
Please.
And
That
who
guy.
owns the Mighty Seal Beach. He's very optimistic. He's extremely excited. Just letting you know.
Say again?
He's very optimistic about his second-time star that I picked in the 7th race.
I was at Nove last night. I told
No.
Bobby.
You were?
Louis was sitting with Bobby Flay. I told Bobby Flay that Kirk shot 9 under at mini golf. He left for about 3.5 minutes.
Did you tell him about the 3-hole ones, the first 5
No,
holes?
I left that part out. I said I have walked around this
The guy
place.
showed up with his own golf club. For
They
mini golf.
walked in with matching vests and hats. The guy shot 9 under at Goonie Golf.
You're jealous because we didn't have a vest in your
Jealous.
size? Why didn't Louis have Nove uniforms? We were prepared. And frankly, you and
I had
Louis
my
just-
Nove shirt on.
It's very disappointing. It really is.
Next
Gearing
year,
up for next year?
I don't know what to
Taking
do.
lessons?
I mean, may have to pull a Jeff Galooly next year. If you don't know what that means,
You
look
could
it
have,
up.
you could have played Galuli's friend in I, Tonya.
That's sensational.
I love it.
It's
I think
true.
I, Tonya is a really good movie. I
It
like
is
that
good.
movie.
It's very good.
Anyhow, let's get on to the Alabama. You know, the Alabama is one of Anthony's favorite races. You know what's funny with the Alabama? I love so many horses that have won it. I don't have the same memories about it as I do a lot of other races. Go for Wand winning the 3-horse race, but really there'll never be a horse that I love really
She was
considerably more
amazing.
than Go for Wand.
She was amazing.
I remember a lot of things about it. The Chief winning it was his Heidi selection.
November Snow coming back.
Yeah,
Test,
November Snow.
Test Alabama.
Beat me. Yeah, there were some great ones.
That
I know
Turnback
Blind
the
Luck.
Alarm? She beat
Blind
Turnback
Luck.
the Alarm?
The stretch duel with Proud. The stretch duel with Proud.
Proud Spell.
Proud Spell and Music Note was a tremendous race.
My buddy John, who comes to breakfast almost every day, plays Stump the Stabile every morning. You win some prizes if you can stump Stabile. 4 trainers have won 2 editions in the last 11 runnings.
Wow.
And that was the question today, and I was able to pull it off.
So,
But it's been a fantastic
it has.
race. I mean, we talked about it yesterday, going all the way on radio. Tempted, Chuvy, Gamely, all
it's
the
like
Busanda.
so many of these stakes. They're won by the
They're all-
greats of the game.
yeah,
They're all
just the
represented in
greats.
these Serta stakes. 2007, Lee Joni won. The last bet my dad made before he died.
Wow.
He didn't die like the next day. He died a couple months later, but that was the last bet he made. He crushed the try.
Carl Napsker?
He had a $25 cold try. It's a correct,
Wow.
true story.
Man after my own heart.
Yeah. Bought my my nephew a computer with the money. Anyhow, let's talk about the CCA Oaks. And you know what? We're going to show the whole race because honestly,
Andy just likes to torture me.
no, I honestly, this was the most exciting, boring race that looked boring on paper that I've ever seen in my life. I love this race. I thought it had it all. And in my opinion, Malathot gained in defeat. The notion that Johnny gave her a bad ride is about as dumb as notion I've ever heard. He had no choice from the inside. It turned out that Maracuja tried her a bit early. And then I love the move that Irad made with Clairiere. Because Irad realized if I don't do something, this pace is going to slow up so perceptively that I have absolutely no chance.
If I don't do it,
And he
nobody's
ended
going to
up-
do it.
He ended up costing her her best chance, probably to be second, because Malathot would have won, by making this big middle move. Because Ricardo was sort of between horses, it was easier for him to drop back, and he made that great decision. And one of the greatest mysteries of all time will be how the winner was twice the price of the horse who ended up finishing fourth, who had about as much chance as Anthony and I in a horse suit in here. And it turned into a real horse race where people were really doing what they could to win, and Malathot took all the worst of it, and she still almost won. Is that fair?
Yeah.
This was a tremendous effort by Malathot, I thought.
I don't disagree. Listen,
Where did you pick Malathot?
I picked her third today.
Third.
I did. I
picked her second because I have a commitment to bet Clairiere, and I'll get to her, but I think that Malathot is an hour and a half the horse to beat. And at the end of the day, if she runs the race that she ran the CCA Oaks, I don't see how she loses. She'll be sitting likely second or third here today, and she's just probably better than these horses. To me, if you're trying to beat her, you're hoping a horse can step forward, or you're hoping she doesn't run a race.
Yeah, I'm hoping a horse can
Who
step
do you have
forward
second?
today. I have Maracuja second.
Why would you prefer Maracuja
Because I think
over her?
Maracuja is going to appreciate the more ground. I honestly do.
But she beat her under the most ideal circumstances.
I understand that, but I still feel like Maracuja is going to appreciate more ground than Malathot.
Why?
Well, because I feel like
Why
in
wouldn't a
both
Curlin
mile
want
and
it
eight-
more than a?
Can I answer it? In the 2 mile and an eighth races, I know she did a lot of dirty work and a lot of heavy lifting last time. I feel like she is going to be a little encumbered with that final eighth of a mile.
Okay.
And I think Maracuja is going to appreciate it a little bit more.
We disagree on that. I'm taking Clairiere, who I believe will be fine at the distance. I don't worry about the distance for any of them. Clairiere will have to improve on her best race to win, and or hope that Malathot doesn't run her good race. I'm clear on that. If Malathot runs her best race, she's going to beat Clairiere. But Clairiere is a horse that has been affected by dynamics in most of her races. Frankly, she was second to Travel Column, and Travel Column had everything her own way, and she was compromised by a complete and total lack of pace. Kentucky Oaks was a race where the pace held together fairly well. I don't think she ran great. She ran okay. Then the Mother Goose, she blows the brake. It's a paceless race, and she still runs third. I thought she ran the best race. I think there's an argument that she could have gotten a better fig there. And then she went on that mission last time out, which wasn't in her favor. Today, I think it's a more fairly run race. So I think today is the day at a decent price to take a shot with Clairiere. David thinks she'll be a much bigger price than Maracuja. If David is right, I think she's an incredible bet because I think she's much more likely to win than Maracuja. You disagree? David disagrees. He likes Maracuja. Dave Aragona makes the morning line.
I think she'll be a bigger price than Maracuja.
No, I hope he's right. I think today is the day to bet Clairiere. Today is the day to find out. Maybe I overrate her. I might. But I think she is a horse that has been compromised in her races. I have absolutely no doubt that Malathot is way the horse to beat. I thought about picking her on top, but when I thought about Clairiere at a decent price, I think a lot of people will give up on her last race. I don't care where she finished in that race.
That's fine. That's fine.
Before we show the replays, let's talk about your horse. I apologize for not sitting and playing
That's
hard,
okay.
and I know you would have picked her. I would have sent in the replay of her last night, but why don't you talk about her?
Played Hard is going to be on the front end in here. Her 2 races going 2 turns are exponentially better than her races going 1 turn. She has a huge pace advantage in here. I loved her allowance win up here last time out going the mile and an eighth. Phil Bowers come to play. I think this horse is going to go right to the top today. Gets leading rider Luis Saez, who has made all his money on the front end. I am hoping that CCA Oaks took a little starch out of both Malathot and Maracuja. I'm not the biggest Clairiere fan. I thought about moving Army Wife up. She's kind of picked her spots. And
We'll get to Army Wife. Let's stick with your horse.
I'm just hoping she goes on a front-running mission and she's able to run these horses off their feet today.
I don't like her that much, but you're not the only person that likes her, so I respect that. She is the speed. I don't get her at all. I don't think she's even remotely good enough to beat these horses, but you know what? She's a new face, and she certainly ran a nice race with everything in her own way last time. But I think this is an enormous step up for her.
It is.
But
You're
I wish her the
100%
best of
right.
luck. She'll be a price. I've seen too many people like her, so I don't think you'll get 15-1. But
She'll be 10-1.
we'll see how it works out as the speed. As far as Army Wife, we'll take a look at her winning the Iowa Oaks last time. She has been extremely well handled by Kirk Wyckoff and Mike Maker, and she probably should have been much closer, maybe even second, in the Gazelle because she had trouble in the stretch. But she also rode a gold rail to victory in the race at Pimlico. And this race, she just won. I mean, the horse who was second in here would be 5,000-1 in this race. You know I'm rooting for Kirk to do well in this as I'm friends with Kirk Wyckoff, but I don't like her in here. I don't think she's good enough.
I thought about putting her second. I thought about. I wondered
I got
just
her
how
third,
much.
but-
I wondered just how much that CCA Oaks took out of those other two fillies. But at the end of the
They're
day,
good horses. Good horses run their races.
Yeah, exactly. Then that's why I put a
Why would a
fourth.
race 5 weeks ago take something out of them that prevents them from running well today? I don't
It
understand
was a
that
tough
thinking.
race on those horses, Andy.
Okay.
Malachi ran from the bell.
You know what the
other
difference
filly-
between stakes horses and cheap horses? Stakes horses run good races.
Yeah, I
when they show
understand that,
up.
but they're still,
I don't
and
agree with
they're
that stuff, but
fairly
okay.
lightly raced, both of them. So
As far as Crazy Beautiful, down the inside, well, in some ways very similar to Army Wife. The only thing is, Crazy Beautiful is completely exposed when she ran the Kentucky Oaks. I tip my cap to Kenny McPeak. He's been brilliant with her.
Great
Gulfstream
job.
Oaks was a bad race. Took a shot in the race that mattered. Then she ran against Sousse and Lady Aces. Then she ran against just lessers. Kenny has done all the right things, and now he's taking a shot in the race you got to be in, much like Kentucky Oaks. She didn't improve with her fig last time on a track with moisture at Delaware, but she's running against the big girls today.
yes, she is.
And she has not shown yet she can beat the
She
big
has
girls.
not. And there's a filly I was a fan of as a 2-year-old, but he's done a fantastic
one of
job
us.
managing her career, earning over $470,000 as a sophomore filly alone, $700,000 overall. Yeah, just an amazing job with her. The water gets much, much deeper today. And the last time she jumped in this end of the pool, she got clobbered. So it's hard for me to think that anything's going to change.
I do not disagree. Race number 11, the final race, is off the turf. And there's really not much to say about this race.
Nope.
I don't know what the 3 is that you've got second. I think you're making a massive mistake with the 6. But a perfect race. We'll look at her last race finishing second, a distant second to More Moonshine. But she was right on top of a quick pace that fell apart. I mean, she's, 3 to 5 and an hour the horse to beat. But the horse who could beat her is Ingress. I know that a lot of people, including you and I, liked her in the turf. This is a dirt pedigree. That dam was a very fast horse that ran for Larry Jones.
Larry Jones.
So I won't be surprised when she runs okay on the dirt. The other horses near, to me, would be one of the upsets of all time. So I'm going to use the 12 and a little 6.
I tried the 3 Epona Bay, half the collected.
But Claff Collected was entered on the turf first time.
Say again?
A half to Collected that was entered from the run the first.
Yeah,
turf
no,
the
I know.
first
Well,
time.
collected was 1 for 2 on the turf for the second, so I got you. And it's an American Pharaoh, so I think people kind of gravitate towards the turf when they see the
Where he's had
American
most of
Pharaoh.
his success.
Yeah, true. That's true.
All right. That's the card. It's Alabama Day. We would like you to head over to Naira Bets. If you're not a member, support Naira Bets. Keep the money in the game and play through Naira Bets. Promo code is SPA200. We will match the $200 your initial deposit. We also have the $50 bankroll bet, 50 to win in the Alabama. You opt in, you get 20 for the Travers, win or lose. We've got a cross-country Big 5, the 2 stakes here, the 9th and 10th. Then you head out to Del Mar a few hours later while you're enjoying your dinner, and you play those races. That was fast, Ben. $20 win. If you bet $25 on the Pacific Classic and you win, you'll get a $20 back. Got to opt in.
$25 to win.
You get $20 back.
To win bet.
Yep. And finally, 2 to 7 FS2. The first 2 races, 1 to 2, will be on the Naira YouTube channel. Anthony, it's been fun. Looking forward to Alabama Day. And have a great day. Johnny I up next in a reprise, The Scratches and Changes.